Court of Appeal Abuja Division has faulted the decision by the High Court of Ogun refusing to hear a suit filed by a governorship aspirant of the People's Democratic Party in the state, Olusegun Adeyemi-sowunmi. Adeyemi-sowunmi had sued the PDP, its National Working Committee, and another factional governorship candidate of the party in Ogun State, oladipupo, adebutu, seeking, among others, the sack of the state and wards executive committees of the party for allegedly buying nomination forms for adebutu. He accused members of the state exco of the party of exhibiting bias, conflict of interest, and a breach of trust by contributing monies to buy a nomination form for only adebutu, to the exclusion of other aspirants. Now, joining us to discuss this is Olusegun Sowunmi. He is a governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Ogun State. It's good to have you join us, Mr. Sowunmi.
It's nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Great. I see that you continuously have spoken about the bias of the party as to buying or putting monies together to buy a ticket for a particular candidate as opposed to other people who were running for this particular, ticket. But now the Abuja court has, I do not want to go into the issue because, of course, it would be sub judice. But what exactly do you intend for the party to do so that you can get some form of respite on this issue? Because I've heard you, and I've heard you being quoted to say you will fight this with all that you have. But what is it that you need the party to deal with?
Very little the party can do right now because the case is in court, and we will follow it to the letter. More than likely, and I suspect very strongly, that it's a case of you can't build something on nothing. And ultimately, our own primaries, which we did, will be the one that is absolutely upheld because it is not fall foul of any of the extant laws. Every required protocol to make it an ideal primary was complied with, and surely I will be the governorship candidate of the party. Save for me, just letting it go for them for whatever reason, if I would, that's the only way out. Other than that, they will have to deal with the consequences of understanding that no organization can be allowed to perpetually not obey its own laws or act as though the court do not matter and that court opinions and court judgment do not matter. The Court of Appeal position is clear. The jurisdiction exists at the lower court, so we'll slug it out there, and it will be interesting to see how they can win on the basis of putting something on very faulty and shaky ground. So that's that on that.
Let's take us back to paint a picture to my viewers of what you saw transpire during the primaries that has led us to this place. One. Secondly, you have also talked about the fact that the party has not been transparent, being that they have been around for so long. They should have, at least in your words, you said they should have been as transparent as possible. What exactly happened for you to get to this conclusion, aside from the party buying
the political party is the creation of the law, where people gather together to try to, look for contests, propose ideas, offer themselves for leadership in a democracy. Now, if a party is 24 years old, having been registered in 1998, and one of the oldest party, if not the very oldest party in the country, you would have expected that over the years they would have, reformed the process to such a level where nobody argues. Because in any contest, once it's only one person that can win, only one person can win. And all that the others would demand is let the process be fair, let it be free, let it be transparent, let it be such that we all can say, okay, this man won today, maybe another man will win tomorrow. But when you run a process where ab initio, everybody can see blatant bias, inability to follow the rules, inability to respect the simple dictums of good and decent behavior in terms of fairness, in terms of equity, and in terms of justice, when you act as though you have no respect for the fact that cases in court can be rendered nullities if you do not, obey or at least, act in the appropriate manner. Of course, the only verdict you say is that it's becoming perennial. There's no troublemaker anywhere, and I'm not one of such people. The thing is that they haven't done the right thing. We have taken the case to court. The court has ruled that there's jurisdiction and we can argue it. And I kind of feel very strongly that it's very difficult for them to now, win on the basis of what is clear, what is provable, and what can obviously be justiciable. And once we're able to get judgment there, then it means that whatever charade that they are doing now would have to vacate itself to what exactly the law is. It is not expected in law that a court order will not carry benefits. There is no imagination of the court that the court can say, oh, this needs to be heard, and then not confer some of the benefits of fair hearing and a well prosecuted and well argued case before the lower court. So basically, because it's a sub judice matter, I suppose that would be sufficient in that regard. I hear them, I see all their misinterpretation and all the shenanigans and all the threats they issue. Things like that don't faze me. We'll go back to the court and ask the court to slam them with contempt and to invalidate every imagination of theirs that is not consistent with good doctrine of law. So as far as I'm concerned, we're in court. I'm happy and I'm very grateful to the courts that we still have judges in this country who can look at the merits of the case and rule on it, and then we'll see how that goes. You must also remember that my other contemporary is Honorable Jimmy Lawal Otumba, who is also running, has also very big issues. His issues even have to do with the fact that the delegate lists were really substituted. They didn't follow through on what is expected. They went over and backward over to try to cause a fait accompli for him by making him, just not get what is due him by way of the benefits of being voted for by collegiate or delegate. I even have bigger issues. I had the issue that border on. You can't have them buy those forms and then claim that they're going to come and run the delegate election. You can see the bias. You can see the breaking of their oath of office. You can see the fact that they fell short of the concern of the party. And then, of course, I didn't but write the party with the intention of getting the party to step in. And it was only when that failed that the matter got to court. And thankfully, we are in court. The case is alive. And hopefully, we'll see whether they can benefit from their perpetual inability to obey their own rules or act as serial contenders who do not have any regard for the law. Any organization created by law that does not regard the law can be made extinct.
Okay. Let's talk about the National Working Committee, because issues such as this, normally it takes the NWC to mediate on the issue. And I think I watched an interview where you said that they were somewhat confused as to whether to mediate or to take sides. But at what point did you begin to realize or think or come to that conclusion that the party was taking sides as opposed to mediating and, trying to see how they could deal with this issue or finding a way to...
there are things you see and you ignore, and there are those things you see and no, this is like a smoking gun. This should not be ignored. When the fellow said they had bought him his form, a letter was written to the national chairman, to the national secretary, to the national leader, to the organizing, offering some remedials, like, look at this, let's figure out a cleaner, tidier way to go about things. It was only when they didn't do that that I felt, okay, there's a legal issue here that we can test. And I'm happy that we're in court. We'll deepen jurisprudence, we'll test the law, and we'll be able to live with the outcome. But one thing I know for sure is that if anybody is thinking that I can be cowed, the person has something else coming up his sleeve. I'm not that type of person. I will go through with it all the way, except in my own volition, I decide that, okay, probably I want to stop. But I have proved that I've made a point. And the point is that the law is created for all of us. And nobody is above or inferior before the court. And the court is nobody's father's loom or anybody's father's heritage to assume that the court will not be able to look at the case and adjudicate on staying. And that's what we're doing. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm in a very good place. I'm quite happy. My supporters are excited. The people of Ogun are clearly looking forward to someone like me who, by miles, is a better candidate, who can articulate the issues better, who can speak to solutions to problems, and who has been in the space, pushing good ideas, who is amiable, who doesn't, rub people off the wrong way. So I feel that, and I come from Ogun Central, where you have a large number of population of people with electable and voting powers. We have the demography shows that we have good numbers there. And we've also never been given the governorship ticket in PDP. So I'll just say it's looking very good. I'm sure the NWC has the plethora of letters, and they're also aware they were in court. So everybody knows what's at stake, and then we'll see. It's a question of who will blink first, and I can guarantee you I won't blink before them.
Interesting. Again, because this matter is sub judice, I do not want to go into the court situation, but there are cases where people would say, well, in the interest of the party, we would do this, this, and this. In your case, you want to take it to court. But if it were to come down to it, and then the court says, let's go back to the field and conduct the elections again. You said
it's too late. The Electoral Act has made the status bad. They are really late. They will either conform and accept that I'm their candidate, or they will run the risk of not having candidates. It happened in Rivers, it happened in Zamfara, so it can happen in Ogun.
But you've also mentioned that there are other candidates who also have cases that are pending. What do you expect that would also,
Well, the truth of the matter is that, one is a foundational case, which is you can't build something on nothing. Some others are allegations of, not doing the Congress as well at the point of Congress. So if the foundation be destroyed, what can the builder do?
Interesting. Now, you've already sold yourself to us and said that, you think you are a better person to run with that ticket, as opposed to the guys in the opposition party. If, for example, right now, I know that the party is split into different, factions because of the ongoing crisis. How does this party hope to band together at the end of the day, no matter who emerges, to still fly that flag, to be able to win the opposition when the party seems to be actually busting at its seams?
Have you imagined a couple, or maybe just two lovers, who are having like a very heated argument on no, it's this, no, it's that, and all that? When you look at them at the point of that conversation, you will think that, wow, they're never going to be able to come together. And 5 minutes after, you're going to see them hunky-dory, hugging themselves and pushing themselves forward. The problem with the PDP is that it's a very strong party. It's a party that has a lot of structures all over the country. It's a party that has survived in government and outside government. So we always have that ability to call ourselves together and just say, okay, guys, let's do this way for the benefit of the party and all of us. One can never rule that out. But what I do not like is that I don't like people who don't like to listen to the aggrieved. Because when you don't listen to the aggrieved, you give the impression that we have created a democracy that is some kind of monarchical system where only a few people are going to have their way at the expense of the mass of us. And that's why people like us are the champion of the people. We have the ability to stand for the people. We have the ability to say, oh, Nigerians, this is what is going on. This is why we're doing it. Come support us. Help us with your prayer. Thank you for all the support you've given up till now. But let us go and struggle for democracy and for the soul of it. And of course, we can only do our best. Whatever then becomes a verdict will be the verdict of history. At least it will be written that when we saw this going wrong, this was what we did. And democratic parties are the first safeguards in a democracy. Political parties must reform themselves to a point that they don't put a fait accompli on people. It's bad enough that the forms are expensive. It's made worse that we then buy the forms and then you will not be able to do the most decent thing, which is give us an opportunity for a fair contest. Once you do that, you have already started deciding for the people. And I don't think that's what democracy envisaged. And I feel very comfortable that I'm on the high moral ground. And I'm willing to go all the way to the wire, so to say.
I'll ask again, how certain are you that you can upstage the APC in Ogun State?
Well, I think that anybody who speaks arrogantly in an election that has not been casted is just, playing to the gallery. Every election is a top contest. And every contest has to be primed around how to win. What I know for a fact is that when the campaign starts, we'll have the conversation in such a manner and we'll hope that the people of Ogun State can do a referendum for the people that are in charge now and listen to the futuristic ideas and the practical ideas and the kinds of issues that I'll be bringing to the table. I'm going to be coming to the table speaking in slurred language or joking about around campaign issues or just, sweeping things under the carpet. That's not who I am. I'll be talking very heavily on education and the kind of radical things that I want to do there. I'll be speaking about security and the type of things I think needs to be done even at the state level. I'll be talking about creating new wealth and how to make sure that we can tackle the unemployment surge. I'll be talking about how to make sure that governance is a bit more inclusive. And I'm not talking about appointment as a basis of inclusion. I'm talking about people having a critical voice in how the government is run and the kinds of projects we do. And I'm talking about how we can make sure that the poor is accommodated in the project. And I'm talking about making sure that the preeminence of Ogun goes back to where it used to be. I have a lot of respect for the man there now. Not to respect your rival is to take it for granted that you're better than everybody. I'm not that type of guy. I see some of the things he's done, but when we get to the battle, we will then cross swords. We'll have the debates on the economy. We'll have it on money. We'll have it on social stabilization. We'll have it on, education and how we're doing there. We'll have it on all the important issues. For me, what is important is that we should have a decent campaign, an issue-based campaign, a lovely campaign, a stylized campaign, and then hopefully we can then hope that our citizens can take informed decision. And whatever decision they take, I'm happy to live by it. But I think I will win.
Okay. Well, Olusegun Sowunmi is the governorship candidate of the PDP in Ogun State. Well, we'll keep our eyes on that story as it develops. Thank you so much for speaking with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. It's very nice to be here. It's a pleasure.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us, and that's the show tonight. But before we go, I will give you my take. Here's my take. Humility in the face of loss to an opponent is the ultimate demonstration of a person's substance. Unfortunately, such humility is nowhere to be found in the hearts of our politicians. The peaceful transition of power is the hallmark of any true democracy, but yet it is a practice that continues to be missing from our election process. The end of our election cycles never truly spells the end of a tug of war over who gets to sit in a public seat of power. So every result is contested, and therefore none of these results can be trusted. At a moment's notice, the administration of a governor can just be cut short by the courts and a new governor is sworn in. And we, the voters, are left with projects that started but were not finished. And the state resources being reallocated and being reallocated again and again and again. Such is the uncertainty of Nigeria's democracy. And as citizens, we cannot allow ourselves to get used to these terrible norms. Otherwise, nothing will ever get better. So before I go, I'd like to say, here are the highlights of the week's conversations from Monday up until today. And that's why I leave you with tonight as you marinate on my take. I'm Mary Anacone. Have a good evening.
This person sat at so exam. His pictures, his photograph is in Wayek water. His name is in Wayek water. And some persons are saying, no, now what they are saying is that no, it's not the person that is in the picture. If you say he's not the person that is in the picture, he's not the person that wrote the Wayek, it always lies on you as the person accusing him to provide the person in the picture. Because from what we have on ground, even as of today, the family of the man has said they don't have any other Francis in their family, and there is no other Francis in the Delta State as a whole. So what are we saying? He wrote his sat and wrote exam. His classmates have come to testify that he wrote the sat for the exam. And then his principal come to testify that he sat for the exam. He used the same results to get his BSc, his master's degree. And this man has been using this name. Don't forget that when he was a counselor, as far as when he won counselor so many years ago, this same name, Francis was used. In his primary school results, in the name was used. In Wayek water, the man's picture is in the Wayek water. With his name, his name in the headquarters. Many people have discrepancy between. But it's either two things. You either correct it by an affidavit, or if it's multiple discrepancies, you correct it with a deep proof, which this man has done since 2004. And this man has gone to the appeal court to say, A, B, C, D, look at my result, look at the evidence. The issuing body has come to say, yes, they have this result, is authentic. So I don't think there's a big issue. All these court processes enhances our process in stabilizing democracy in Nigeria. This is democracy. Everybody has the right to go to court. But it doesn't mean that when you go to court, when you go to court, that you must be the person that is correct. And also, if there is no need, if the High Court must be correct at all times, if they don't have the propensity of making mistakes, there wouldn't be higher courts, there wouldn't be appellate court, and there wouldn't be Supreme Court. But even the law understands that the judge, the High Court being a single judge court, can err in their judgment. We have not said that they err in their judgment, but what we are saying, we are challenging the judgment because the man in question has a result, and the man is saying that the person accusing me did not go to prove that this result is not mine. It is not his duty to go and prove. Go to the issuing bodies and ask if this person is on the certificate. And the issue is beyond before the appellate court now.
It stands right now. Nobody going to court first. They are medicine interloper. They are case contractors, and we are waiting for them in court. However, while they were there stooping down to watch our rump, we also found something in their own wrong. Now, they are supposed to give, under the Electoral Act, 30 days notice, 30 days to the primaries. They must surrender their register that has names of the candidates at the match to the INEC. That did not do. I hear my friend, my brother Butch, say that the PDP is so well organized, so they don't make mistakes. Well, INEC cannot be a judge in some case. So even if INEC were to be a branch of the PDP, the INEC will not do anything just to make sure that everybody obeys the rules. But when the matter does come up in courts, as it has come now, it is left for the court to decide whether the PDP was that organized or not.
Like they said, okay, the delegates are giving you their vote. Go and get the delegate to vote for you. So I think we should respect the sharing principles. We should respect equity, justice, and fairness when we discuss about our representative democracy and the ways everybody can gain inclusion in our national day-to-day life.
In do is to ensure that we monitor them before they move out from their place and take them out before they come into town. If we're able to do some preventive acts, then we reduce the impact of the terrorists on the citizens. So if you say the police, if the police says, police is they are Nigerians, they are part of the society. And so if people are subjected to or exposed to kidnap, police is also exposed to kidnap. And also, our police is not fully equipped. They are underfunded. They don't have the capacity to deal with this issue.